Dave. Kathy.
Kathy, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Easy to remember. My husband is Dave.
He must be a really nice guy.
We like all the Daves.
I could see like your grandma standing there.
Sure.
This.
Sure. So we'll come to that. I will address that one. So okay, we ready for this? Shall we start?
Okay.
Okay. I'm sitting here with Kathy, who's brought some cameras. She's collected on her own, or she's had inherited. And we're going to start by doing some show and tell with this one here. Now, this is what is meant by a box camera. It is absolutely a box. There's nothing fancy about it. People often will contact me and say that, oh, I have a box camera, and instead it'll be a folding bellows camera or some other kind of camera. And I have to explain, no. A box camera is, in fact, a box. Now, this is a later model of Brownie camera made by the Eastman Kodak Company. And the Brownie camera is really, really important because when the first one was introduced in 1900, it revolutionized photography because it was a camera that any man, woman, or child could use and was very inexpensive. And it also gave documentary and journalistic ability to anybody who had one. So, for example, we have the 1906 earthquake in San Francisco was by far the best documented tragedy in history up to that point because people were forced out of their homes, they ran out of the houses, and one of the things they took were their cameras. And a lot of them were little Brownie cameras. And thanks to those Brownie cameras, we have this incredible photographic record. Never had anything like that prior to that. This is later. This is probably from the 1930s, and that was when they started to do Art Deco designs on the cameras. Kodak enlisted Walter Dorman Teague, who was a really important engineering and industrial designer. And he created whole lines of cameras in the 30s for Kodak that had beautiful colors, that got pink and blue and green, all kinds of colors, and a lot of Art Deco decoration. This one is a more simple one and was designed as a first camera for families and things. So God knows this took a lot of vacation pics and who knows what other pics back in the day. And like a lot of these cameras, the darn shutter still works. It's like they never break. Now, you have something in your hands that came from a flea market. This one has some sentimental value.
This one belonged to my grandmother.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what we have here is it is also technically a box camera, okay? But it's designed to fool you, okay? Because it has this very big reflex finder on top, which gives you a real sharp view. You can really see what you're aiming at. But the object here was to make it look like something called a twin lens reflex. Now, that was a high-quality camera. That was a camera that professionals would use. So you'd walk around with one of these and you think you were very special, you know. But the truth is, it's kind of a glorified box camera. Let's see if this one works. Sure does. So you remember your grandma actually shooting with it?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. That's great. These were introduced, the first model of those I think was introduced around 1950. I could be off on the dates, but they made different variations of this into the 1960s. It's a very popular line of cameras from Kodak. It's called a Duoflex. Yeah, very cool. So let's jump ahead a little bit. This one here, I told you about Walter Dorman Teague and the Art Deco stuff. After World War II, the important aesthetic at the time was mid-century modern. Okay, and what we have here is a classic post-war mid-century modern design. This is a Brownie Hawkeye box camera. Again, simple box camera. And this one was so impactful. They made it for over 10 years. They sold tons of these things. And it became kind of a symbol of that mid-century modern movement, such that I believe even Andy Warhol, I think, did a little painting of one of these one time. And they pop up in all kinds of things in advertising and whatnot. So the last one here, this one belonged to
my father.
This was your dad's camera. All right, this is a Polaroid Model 95. Okay. Edwin Land, great American inventor, developed the first practical camera for instant pictures. Okay. It was complicated. You had to make your exposure. You had to pull the thing out. You had to peel it off, but you actually got a usable photograph just in a minute. And they're quite common. they revolutionized the market back when they came out. I think they were introduced. Oh, I might be getting this wrong, but I think the first version of this camera was 1947. Don't quote me on that. And they made, this is the A version, and there was a B version. They kept upgrading them. They sold these for many years. And I'm old enough to remember people using them. And we were talking earlier that you have the little vials. Yeah, that the pictures, because they were very sensitive, they could scratch easy. You had to put this horrible oily stuff on the picture and let that dry, and that would preserve the picture. It's kind of similar to how classic painting, oil painting, you have to put varnish over it, otherwise it would be varnished. So your little work of art had to be varnished. So this is a great camera. It's a classic camera. There we go. Okay. I know people always ask me this question: what's it worth? Okay. Yeah, what's it worth? Something like this. These are all, unfortunately, really common cameras. But the thing I find interesting is this one and that one have come back into popularity because they use a type of film that you can fudge on it. There's ways you can put film on them. And there's now a group of young photographers that are embracing some of these older cameras because they love the look of the pictures. They love the quality of images. So they become desirable, but they're still both pretty common. And if you wanted to get one in really, really good shape, you get one for less than $30. Real common. Box cameras like this, they literally sold millions. So I usually tell collectors who are interested, make sure you get one in the best possible condition, and even then you're $10 to $15. This one, piece of history, these are going up in value, and I don't know why. Sometimes we don't know what happens in the market. But I've seen these selling in the $50 to $75 range, despite the fact that they're pretty common. And I think they're more display pieces than anything else because, my God, what a fascinating looking camera.
Right.
Yeah. And I can imagine, back in the day when people would pop these things open and they'd be taking pictures, yet you couldn't help but look at the camera.
Right.
Yeah, they're incredible. So probably primarily for display and artistic appreciation. These have been selling for $50 to $75 these days. So there you have it. Thank you so much for bringing them in.
Well, thank you.
Ken, have you used any of them? I know you did a lot of photography when Dave was racing.
That was mostly 8mm movie film.
Okay.
And then Super 8. And then I had all of that to put on a thumb drive.
Oh, good. Yeah. Okay.
Really quite boring. At the time, it was exciting.
But you preserved it, and that's what's
preserved it.
Yeah.
But most of all of the racing was either the little Canon or movie.
Okay. Have you thought about what you're going to do with your old photos and your camera collection here?
Probably give it to my niece.
Okay.
She may not totally want it. I've thought about also just, putting it up to see if someone wanted just to buy it all. Because really only the two pieces have sentimental value to me.
Something I would recommend you do is to write down information about it. Now that's grandma's camera. An index card. Say this belonged to the name, the date, whatever. Put it inside the camera. Fold it up and put it inside the camera. Yeah.
And then with this one, he had a case. I have the case.
That's a big, heavy thing, isn't it? Yeah.
It's like faux leather.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I thought I'd put some notes in there. This one she probably would want because she was the only granddaughter.
Oh.
So she was his favorite.
Oh, okay, that would be great. Yeah, one of the things that over the years, as I've collected so many and brokered so many cameras over the years, one of the things I've done, it's been crazy, but occasionally I'll find a camera and go open it up and take it apart and look inside. and somebody's name will be in there and where they lived. And I've done some fascinating research to find out where that person was, if they had any relatives. And I've actually placed cameras back in people's families.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. It's difficult. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do. But I've gotten lucky a few times. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So do everything you can to hide the information in there so people know what this means. Cameras are often heirlooms because they captured our lives. So, the ones that you have that are from the family, definitely want to preserve them.
You two are very similar in that you appreciate history while also being extremely curious about the future and where everything is headed. But
Yes.
if you go to her house, she's like as plugged in as you can be, like very high tech. But also you have like a phone on your wall that is, I don't know how old, but it was your grandmother's.
Oh, that was this grandmother.
Oh,
you
no
know, why
kidding.
not?
Watch it up.
With
That's
the treadmill sewing machine.
I know people who actually still use them.
Oh, it's so hard.
I know. You have to have strong legs
Oh,
and good focus. Otherwise, you sew yourself.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then the Victrola.
Oh, yeah. Over the years, I've actually brokered Victrolas for people. I'm always amazed that the mechanisms still work.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, they still work.
And my mother has had the standing Victrola.
Oh, yeah.
Mine's the small Edison with the giant
big horn on it. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But hers is the freestanding with a little door and
Put all the records on. Yeah.
And those thick records.
Yeah. Yeah. And be careful, but boy, they break easy.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Do you see kind of a disposable kind of attitude towards things?
Totally.
Yeah, that's hard to see that everything seems replaceable because the way the technology is marketed rather than valued, it's like bigger, better, whatever. I mean, crazy things like I was laughing a couple of years ago where Apple was talking about now in different colors, and it's like, who cares? Who cares what color you're? But that was a big selling point,
Right.
And so it's all become disposable. You've seen this thing.
And they're produced with a limited lifetime.
Yeah.
It drives my husband crazy. He has a 2008 Kindle that can't really keep up with how they've, speeded up the internet and whatnot. And he's 80 years old now and cannot fathom getting rid of that 2008 thing because it still works. I said, but it doesn't. It only sort of works, I mean, there's a lot of lag and there's all this complaining. I want him to upgrade because it's practically 2026, and that's an 08. And see, that 08 should doesn't last like this did for 40, 50
That's why
years.
it's up. I mean, I'm looking at this thing, and everything on it works perfectly, and it's from 1950, and we'll be long gone, and it'll still be clicking.
Yes.
So it's so sad.
It is.
Disposability. That's the thing I really don't like about what's going on with technology today. Everything is disposable and replaceable.
Do you think that's the shift in manufacturing? Because the cameras that are here now, were this all made in the U.S.?
These are all U.S. cameras. Yes, all U.S. made. Yeah. I don't think I don't think it has anything to do with country of origin. I think it's happening all across the world, all manufacturers. I mean, what's driving them, of course, is money.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And it doesn't do you any good to hand you a smartphone and say, this is good for 20 years. They don't want that. They want you to buy a new one every year. Yeah. So that saddens me. And that's part we talked about earlier about We mentioned that you go and get the new cell phone and they transfer your information. A lot of times, like all the pictures you've taken, we made a mistake and they got rid of all your pictures. Oh, Jesus. Or they're in the cloud, and then you can't remember your cloud, password to go get them, things like that. So what's sad is not only is the hardware disposable, but the memories you wanted to preserve are suddenly disposable. Where's our history? Where's the foundation of who we are and what we are?
Yeah, but part of me thinks that we need to either educate them or harp on it, because the phone has become too hard drive or hard,
Mm-hmm.
I take pictures with my phone, but I download all of them to my computer. I will not use the cloud because I think that's just way too much invasion into my life.
Mhm.
Already, they know everything. They know every grocery I purchase.
Exactly. Yes.
Back in the early 70s, I had a boyfriend that saw this coming and really tried to talk to people about Big Brother, we used to call it back in those days.
Big Brother is here.
Right. And I didn't really believe a lot of what he was saying, that it would get to that point, but it has, and it's here now. That no place can you go that you're not on camera.
Yeah. It's true.
Speaking of cameras.
The wrong kind.
The wrong kind.
Wrong kind, yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
You're so right. We talked a lot earlier about educating, and also I talked a lot about curiosity. And what I find sad is instead of having curiosity about your roots, about your foundation, about where did this knowledge come from, a lot of young people they lack that, and they're only concerned with the next selfie.
Right.
They're self-absorbed, and that's not their individual fault. It just seems like culture is going that way.
Yeah.
And it's being driven by commercialism.
Commercials.
Yeah.
In fact, recently I watched a couple of programs about, they call them influencers.
Oh yeah.
That died while trying to influence, with these certain pictures and stuff.
Yeah.
They're 20-something years old and fell off a cliff to get a perfect picture.
I know.
I cannot compute that in my brain.
Well, they're too busy looking at themselves. They don't know what's behind them.
There was one, she was a wedding photographer, and her claim to fame was getting really, exotic or sites for the bride, locations for the bride and groom, for the background. And so she was backing up and she fell off while the bride and groom are standing there.
Oh my God.
And died.
Oh my God.
My question is, what were the bride and groom doing?
You think somebody said, "Don't step back," but everybody is in there. We are creating a culture of people walking around with blinders. Mm-hmm. They don't see.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things, though, that we discussed earlier was the fact that, for example, I told you about how some young people want to not totally abandon, but they want to move away from this experience of instant gratification, and they're embracing something like film cameras, and I think other technology as well, where it's a more contemplative process.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they use a camera like this. You load this up with a roll of film. I think you get this one. I think we get 12 shots on a roll of film. So you have a little viewfinder here, and you're doing whatever. You need to stop and think, and you need to engage with what you're looking at, because you only get one shot at it. You can't sit and go click, 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 and hope one comes out.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
That the shot, it was important, and you were going to have to pay for that shot.
Yes.
Again.
Yes.
When you went to pick it up.
Yes. So you are invested in it, and you take the time, and it's just, to me, it's almost like there's things going on in the brain. I think it actually, it's almost an educational process in the experience of taking the picture.
Mhm.
Instead of holding up the phone, click, 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 click,
Well, instant gratification.
Yeah.
That's the key word. I mean, I kind of know when that kicked in, or remember that.
Yeah.
Amazon.
Yes, absolutely.
You
Yeah.
get a book instant.
Instant, like right there on your reader or your cell phone. Bang.
And that's kind of, we started this whole thing of having to have, like now, if they're not going to get it to me tomorrow, it's a little bit of an irritant. You know? And it used to be you'd wait a week or 10 days, or
You see, that's
and
one of the
that
things
was
that I love, that some of the young people who, and by the way, I meet a lot of these people through Craigslist. So I'll have little cameras like this that I know will sell for $20 or something. And I put them on Craigslist, and then I get someone to walk in. There's a 20-something, and he's kind of a techie, or she's kind of a techie, or whatever, and they come in. Oh, I'm so excited! And they might have other plastic cameras like that. And what they really, really lifts my heart is they'll say, "Oh, I take my pictures and I hand them off to the place, and I'm so excited, waiting to get them." I said, that's the way it should be. See?
that's the way it was.
Yeah.
Oh, you couldn't wait for that envelope.
I can't wait to go get my pic. Yeah. And that's so much of that is lost.
Yeah.
But there are young people who are coming around. I think they view a lot of the modern tech as invasive, and they want to escape that, and they want to know what it's like to live a well thought out life. I take a different position. So, I have optimism.
It's
Bring it on over.
here because, and you should look at the cards because you just mentioned.
I'm going to trade you this big one. Put this down here. Okay. Now, this is a fascinating piece. It's not a rare piece because before there was television, even before radio, we're going way back, they found a way to experience the world by taking what we call stereo pictures. And stereo pictures would be two images taken simultaneously by a special camera where the lenses were about as far apart as your eyes. So you've got the right eye view and you got the left eye view. And then when you put these images, develop onto a card like this is a tight fit. You get this in here without ruining anything. And you would take this here, you would hold it up, and you can push it in there. Oh, it snapped right in. I got it. And you would actually see the pictures in the actual three-dimensional quality that you experienced when you stood there. This was a big deal, and it goes way back. They first started stereo photography. I mean, almost back to the beginnings of photography. We're talking back in the 1840s. By the time this viewer was made, this is a very common type of viewer. It's called a Holmes-Bates viewer. And this was by far the easiest and most popular kind of viewer that was available. This is probably, I'm going to date this from around 1900 to 1910. And it's wonderful. It's in wonderful condition. These cowlings are shaped wood. They would heat them and shape them. And actually, this might be even a hard leather, but these often crack, fall apart. The lenses often fall out. The wood, this part is often lost. So you have a nice complete one here. It's a really nice piece of photographic history. Now, as I said, this was before, even radio. Really. This was home entertainment.
Right.
You could get stereo card sets that showed, Egypt, China, it's places all over the world. You could see sites you never would see otherwise, but see them in realistic 3 dimensions. Wow. That was pretty cool back then. So, I would say value-wise, this is probably $100 today. It's because it's condition. Condition is really nice. They're usually available out there beat up for less, but this is a real fine one. It doesn't have a maker's name, which I'm surprised. Usually the companies that make these are very proud of them and put names all over them, but this one has that one.
That's actually mine, by the way.
This is yours.
No, it's just.
Oh, it's yours.
I have looked through them. They're really cool.
Should I put a card in for you? Let's see, where's it?
I picked some depressing cards. They're all from the earthquake and fire devastation that you're just experienced before.
That's the.
Where
Oh,
did you
here's an
get it?
actual.
I feel like I was out in the old country, some antique store out in the
Back-
city, maybe.
Back in the day when I was a young, energetic collector, I spent a lot of time in the gold country, found some incredibly rare things. And yeah, that one's not bad. The Fairmont Hotel and Flood Residence, all gone. Take a peek. I have a focus for my eyes. Can you see it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it jumps out at you. It's like you feel like you can throw a rock out there.
Yeah, that you could touch it.
I love my parents' generation stuff. I just thought it was wonderful. I have, you might remember this as well, but, what was the thing called? I was about 4 years old and my parents went out of town. I live in San Francisco. We went out of town and I'm 4 years old. You don't know which end is up. You just do what your parents say. So I went along for a ride. We went to visit somebody who was an old friend of my father's, some relation. And it's so long ago, I don't know who she was. I don't know why we were there. I just know we went across the Bay Bridge and we went somewhere down Lower Alameda somewhere. And there was this old house and we went in and there was this old woman there. And I stopped right there in the living room staring at this incredible machine. And what it was a Regina disc player. A Regina disc player. It's like a giant music box.
Oh.
And the disc had the little punched parts on it and would go across the little mechanisms that would make the sound and would play music. And I stopped and I said, "What is that?" And the woman said, "That is a Regina. It plays music." And I said, "How does it play music?" And says, "I'll show you." And my parents were like, "What's going on here?" And she did whatever to turn it on, and the thing went around, and I listened to the entire thing play. It was about a minute. It went for about a minute and 20. 4 years old. And I said, "Will you do it again?" We do it again. And now that's a machine that dates back to like 1920. And here I was, a little guy in 1961. I was absolutely fascinated with it. Didn't end there. I stepped away and she said, "Do you want to see the others?" She must have had a dozen of these machines all over the house. Some sat on top of a table, some were big, tall ones. We went home later and I couldn't stop talking about it. And my dad was shaking his head and kept saying, "Yeah, she's an old lady. She's just nuts." So my dad had less appreciation for that than a little 4-year-old kid. But that was my first memory of seeing something that old and just thinking, "Oh, that's amazing." I love old things.
Now, was that something like the player pianos?
Player pianos were similar in that they had the paper strip that had the holes in it and somehow would activate the keys. So it's similar.
Similar.
Does the same thing. I think the actual playing mechanism is different. The same thing. In San Francisco, at the Cliff House, when they used to have the mechanical. Yeah. The bottom of Cliff House, they had what they called the mechanical museum, and it had all these coin operating machines that go way back. Remember?
Well, see, that used to be, was it Funland?
Playland was down
Playland.
below. Playland was down.
Was down below. And Playland, I didn't live here at the time, but you can dig up old pictures and stuff of it.
It was an amazing place.
Yeah, people that,
Playland was put out of business by Great America.
What's Great America?
Great America, it's called something else. Is it Seven Flags?
Seven Flags, Magic Mountain,
Yeah.
amusement park.
It's an amusement park down the peninsula somewhere.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Don't worry about it, because it's not like it used to be.
I have to look at
But Playland was the far west destination in the city to go have a blast. They had roller coasters, they had a fun house, that Laughing Sal, remember Crazy
Laughing Sal.
All kinds of things there. It's an important part of San Francisco's old history. And then what happened in the 1970s is Great America opened, and nobody was going to cold, foggy Playland anymore. They were going down to where it was sunny down the peninsula. So they went out of business and they turned it into housing. But up above at the Cliff House, there was the Mechanical Museum, and it was there for many years.
That was after Playland died.
Yeah.
The
And
museum was there.
Wonderful coin-operated machines. They had a Regina.
Well, isn't that stuff over in Oakland now?
No, it's at Pier 39.
Oh, I've seen it.
Okay.
Yeah, Pier 39. Yeah. That's kind of the remnants. I haven't been down there since they made the move. I used to know the owner, and I can't think of his name. I used to know the owner because we did some transacting way back in the day. But regarding Regina, they have, if you remember, they had one. You talk about the player piano. They had a thing. You drop a diamond slot. It played the piano. Inside the mechanism, there was a banjo. There was drums. There were horns. Do you remember that monster?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I used to love that thing. God, what a sound it made. It was like an entire orchestra playing, all in one mechanized machine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, incredible things. So you've seen it down to Pier 39, so you know what we're talking about. Yeah, lots of things.
I get the clay litter.
Hmm.
I don't like that really fine stuff. It can get under there.
We get
Hey.
crushed corn cob.
That's really good.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, that is good.
This is a conversation we have so.
Pivoting to. See, I thought Facebook was just that everybody complaining at each other.
Yeah.
You know, how wonderful their children are.
Look what I had for dinner.
Right. I mean, who cares what you had for dinner?
Don't care.
It is the weirdest thing in the world that became such a big deal is taking pictures of your food.
Yeah.
So I found those reels, and then, you know, you can narrow it down to where it's farm animals, dogs, and cats. And it's an absolute scream.
The other thing you're gonna love this. It's a lot of cat food. This hedgehog. Did you?
Oh, I love the thing. I sit with a toothbrush underneath a running faucet. That's
Oh
what-
God. Oh yes, I've seen that.
Like little
Oh
hedgehog
God.
tabs.
Yep, actually, because it's the 1/600, so this takes 600 pounds.
Okay. You each
So are you collecting cameras then?
I'm not.
Oh.
I just like talking to people. I just like pieces of history and things, and this is really cool to dive into this time. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. And I always forget which way it comes out of. There. But people love these now because it's like the antidote to all the iPhone stuff. Just one time, but
It's just like the Polaroid where you had to wait for it to come out.
it's just fast enough that you're not waiting 3 weeks for a photograph. I noticed.
You know, that's old school where we used to shake the pictures on the original ones. Her dad's
Dad's.
either that or it's an old wives' tale, and we didn't know what the hell we were doing.
No, it's an old husband's tale.
Oh, heck, okay.
Yeah.
1939.
Huh.
Jesus.
Thinking about my mortality lately and wondering, I have gobs of photo albums. They're like scrapbook photo albums.
Mm-hmm.
It takes me about a month. I just did the one for the recent cruise that we were on. They're like 12 by 12 pages with, 3 to 6 photos per page with all the little scrapbooking things. I'm thinking, Kathy, one of these days, those are going to be laying in some,
all smartphones look like all smartphones.
Mhm.
You can't. I see that in cars. A lot of times, unless you really are in the business or something, all cars look the same.
They do.
Any SUV that goes by looks like every other SUV that goes by. What happened to style, the individual style? So I'm intrigued by that thing that your friend put together there because it stands out. He did something radically different.
Mhm.
And I'm also intrigued with the Instax for the same reason. I mean, that doesn't look like anything else. But the fact that they come in different colors and things, that harkens back to the 1950s when, of course, you had early instant photography, But you also had snapshot box cameras that came in colors. And you can see them. You can see these. I've seen these items, like half a dozen different colors that come in. I think it's wonderful. There was truly somebody sat down and thought about the aesthetic of the experience itself. You know what you're holding. You're dealing with.
Somebody, I don't know how to close it either.
This is,
Yes, this is this.
oh, light meter. Oh, movie cameras. Don't you love how my dad taped?
Everybody did that. Yeah, everybody did this because they were so complicated. If you didn't do it right, you'd ruin the picture. So you had to go step by step to make sure that you were getting out right.
I didn't know it was taped on, so when I saw this, I assumed it had been manufactured
Yeah.
with it on.
Yeah. Actually, is this
Tape.
It's a fact. This is for Flash. Oh, he taped on the Flash instructions. The actual instructions are underneath.
Yeah, 1 through 3 is underneath.
Well, he knew how to do it.
He
He
knew
didn't
how to
need the
do it.
instructions anymore. But there's a paper thing that actually comes off. And once you learned how to do it, you would take that off. But usually you find them with the instructions on there, and they were, better keep them on there. It's a construction. Yeah.
This is what I had.
Oh, yeah, I do remember that. Yeah. This is so heavy.